Christian fundamentalists have clung to them as showing Jesus was divine. But is either explanation wholly satisfactory? Author Ian Wilson has made a special study of the subject.
Miracle stories of all sorts are common in pagan as well as Christian early literature, and most of these are deservedly apocryphal and unbelievable. But the gospel descriptions of Jesus' healings are significantly different. They're concise, matter-of-fact, and most importantly, exhibit familiarity with symptoms still observable to this day.
It threw the boy into convulsions, and he fell, writhing. Jesus drove out the unclean spirit.
Today, of course, we no longer believe in things called unclean spirits. But modern psychiatry does recognize that in certain conditions of extreme stress, and there were plenty of these in Jesus' time, individuals can find themselves helplessly possessed by illusory entities of their own mind. Today, the most effective treatment of such conditions is through hypnosis, an all too mysterious phenomenon, but in essence seeming to be a belief system between hypnotist and subject, in which the subject, by abandoning his consciousness to the hypnotist, has opened up for him mental resources otherwise beyond his normal control. Much of the success of this process depends on the awe, the authority, the sheer command the hypnotist is able to impart. Undeniable when properly used can be the spectacular nature of its effects.
The most remarkable of all known hypnotic cures is this case. A rare disease called ichthyosis, which cannot be cured by conventional medicine. Like leprosy, it's an organic condition. Only hypnosis was able to effect a cure.
For hypnosis to have been known in Jesus' time is by no means improbable. Almost certainly the Egyptians used it, also the charismatics such as Honi and Hanina mentioned by Dr. Vermesch. That whatever Jesus was using was not some exclusive appurtenance of divinity is evident from his reported passing on of his healing methods to his disciples. One gospel passage that particularly lends credence to the hypnosis theory is the Mark writer's striking admission of Jesus that it was only in his own town that he could work no miracle. Because it is the awe and mystery that achieves the results, Jesus' own hometown, where everyone knew him for who he was, is precisely where we would expect him to fail, and fail he did.
According to Dr. Vermesch, Jesus' abilities and reputation as a healer and a teacher would have been quite enough to attract the large crowds that are described in the Gospels.
If there were any doubt about the kind of figure Jesus was, I think it can now be dispelled. His portrayal as a popular Galilean preacher, exorcist, and healer in the first three Gospels has an authentic ring about it in the light of the evidence concerning other contemporary charismatics like Honi and Hanina Bendosa. But these are minor figures compared with Jesus. He stands head and shoulders above them. You can tell this first and foremost from his teaching. He possessed the gift of conveying in colorful and deeply moving parables the simplicity and inwardness of Jewish spirituality. But we must be careful how we label Jesus. He was a most holy Jew. He devoted himself totally to living as a child of God, as a confident and loving son of his Father in heaven. And he impressed on his disciples to do likewise, Because God's kingdom was at hand, they were to act not tomorrow or next year, but today. But I don't think he would have seen himself as Israel's Messiah, the Christ. His compatriots, remember, were expecting as Messiah a righteous royal warrior who would be God's viceroy on earth and liberate the Jewish people. Jesus, however, does not fit this image. If you look carefully at our three earliest Gospels, you will find that Jesus was generally unwilling, even when challenged, to declare himself to be the Messiah, the Christ. And he certainly never imagined he was God. To a pious Palestinian Jew of his time, the very idea would have been inconceivable, pure blasphemy.
אמונה שלמה בביאת המשיח, בביאת המשיח.
Every year, Jews celebrate the Passover, the rescue from Egypt. The ceremony frequently includes a quaint reminder to the children to be especially watchful for a particular event. They are sent to the door to sing a hymn invoking the return of the great prophet Elijah. For only after Elijah returns from the dead will the Messiah come.
Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu Hakilati.
While they're away, Elijah himself sneaks through a window and drinks the glass reserved for him. The lesson for the children is to be forever watchful, not to miss him when he does come. But could there have been an Elijah figure in Jesus' time? Someone that triggered the belief that the Messiah was about to be revealed. All four Gospels begin their account of Jesus' ministry with an event that happened not far from here, the waters of the River Jordan. Jesus' baptism by a man called John the Baptist. It's an event which even the most rigorous New Testament critics readily accept. The Jewish historian Josephus confirms John's practice of a ritual baptism. Josephus reports that John attracted such a large following that Herod Antipas, the Roman appointed king, regarded him as a threat. What happened to John would have been a warning to anyone who found themselves at the center of public attention. These were dangerous times, possibly the last times, and John's execution by a Roman puppet would have fueled the fires of messianic expectation. The implication in the Gospels is that John's followers turned to Jesus, as John's most celebrated initiate, for leadership. If, as described in the Gospels, some did see John as Elijah returned, Jesus would have been a natural focus of messianic hopes. But the Gospels also imply that Jesus rejected the suggestion that he should take up the role of Messiah. And according to the Jewish scholar Dr. Vermesh, this is entirely the reaction to be expected from a holy man in